You ever notice how some people can just sit with boredom? No phone, no podcast, no scroll. They'll wait in a doctor's office staring at a wall like it's no big deal. Meanwhile, the rest of us are 3 seconds from a minor existential crisis if the Wi-Fi drops. If you grew up in the 70s, you probably have this weird relationship with silence and waiting that's almost alien to everyone else. You learned patience before it became a lost art. You got resourceful when boredom was basically the only thing on TV. And somewhere in there, you picked up traits that today feel rare, like emotional artifacts from another planet. Maybe it's you, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's that one coworker who never seems rattled when everything goes sideways. Either way, there's real psychology behind what the 70s did to a generation's brain. Before we dive in, do you see yourself here or someone you know? Let me know in the comments which trait hits closest to home. And hey, if you're into this kind of thing, the hidden patterns that explain why people are the way they are, go ahead and subscribe. We're doing more of this. All right, let's get into what makes a 70s kid different. The analog problem solver. Picture this. You're 10. Your bike chain falls off. There's no YouTube tutorial, no dad with a smartphone, just you, the busted chain, and this sinking realization that if you want to ride today, you're going to have to figure it out. So you do. You fumble around, get grease all over your hands, probably put the thing on backward at first, but eventually you solve it, and something clicks in your brain, this feeling we now call agency, the belief that you're not helpless, that problems aren't just things happening to you, they're puzzles. 70s kids grew up in a world where stuff broke, got lost, stopped working, and there was no customer service chat, no next-day replacement. You adapted or you went without. That builds something in you, a kind of quiet confidence that you can handle things. It's not that they're smarter, it's that they had to trust themselves over and over until it became automatic. If your first instinct when something breaks is to start tinkering instead of Googling, yeah, that's the mark. The comfortable loner. But not the sad kind. 70s kids spent hours alone with their thoughts, their imagination, their boredom. You'd finish homework, and then what? No texts, no notifications, no infinite scroll to fall into. You'd go outside, build something, read the same book twice, make up entire worlds in your head because there was nothing else to do. And psychologically, that's massive, because real solitude, the uninterrupted kind, teaches you to self-soothe, to be okay in your own head without needing constant input. Back then, it was just normal. Now we've got terms for it. Intrinsic motivation, low stimulation tolerance, whatever. Point is, people who grew up like that can sit in silence without losing it. They take long drives without podcasts. They don't feel this frantic need to fill every quiet second with noise. It's not that they don't like people. They're just comfortable with stillness in a way that feels almost weird now. The Unscheduled Adventurer. You know that friend who never plans anything but somehow always ends up with the best stories? The one who says, let's just see where this goes, and you wind up somewhere you'll never forget. Often, that's the 70s thing. Childhood back then wasn't a lineup of activities. No soccer at 4, piano at 5, SAT prep at 6. You were just outside somewhere until the streetlights came on. And in all that unstructured time, you learned to make your own fun, to adapt, to turn nothing into something. Psychologists call this tolerance for ambiguity. It's the ability to not know what's next and be totally fine with it, maybe even excited. People raised this way tend to stress less about uncertainty. They're spontaneous, curious. They don't need every hour mapped out to feel safe. In a world obsessed with control and optimization, that's a rare kind of freedom. The Skeptical Optimist. This one's more subtle. 70s kids grew up in this strange cultural pocket. Post-60s idealism, pre-Reagan confidence. Watergate was on TV, gas lines, a creeping sense that maybe adults didn't have all the answers, but also moon landings, color TV, the feeling that things could still get better, just not the way anyone promised. That created something unusual, a kind of grounded hope. You learned to expect things to go wrong, but you believed you'd handle it when they did. Not naive, not cynical either, just realistic with this underlying we'll figure it out mentality. People with this don't spiral when plans fall apart. They don't expect perfection,
but they also don't quit. They've got this steady, unshakable, okay, what now energy that's incredibly calming when everything's chaos. It's optimism, just earned, tempered by actually living through stuff. And honestly, it's one of the most underrated strengths you can have. The face-to-face connector. Here's the thing about growing up without screens between you and everyone else. You had to learn to read people. Really read people. Tone, body language, the tiny shift in someone's face that tells you if they're joking or serious, hurt or just thinking. 70s kids logged thousands of hours in actual, unfiltered human interaction, and that built a kind of social fluency that's genuinely harder to develop now. Not because people today are worse at socializing, just that so much happens through text, emojis, curated posts. If you can walk into a room and just feel the vibe, if you notice when someone's off even when they say they're fine, that's often a 70s skill. Empathy sharpened by necessity, and it makes for relationships that go deeper. So which one are you? The problem solver who can't stop tinkering? The loner who doesn't need noise? The adventurer who lives for the unplanned? The skeptical optimist who expects mess but trusts themselves anyway? Or the person who reads people like they're written in neon? Maybe all of them, maybe none. But if you grew up in the 70s, or you know someone who did, these aren't just quirks, they're psychological fingerprints, the invisible marks of a decade that wired brains differently than any era since. How does this hit for you?